Hello, and welcome to New Meta. This is episode 7 of your favourite Dota 2 podcast. We've been gone for just over a week, which is just too long for my liking, but we're back with a bang with another episode. And I say back with a bang because not only am I joined with Adam, as usual. Adam, how are you?
Pretty good. I haven't played a ton of Dota, but I've been keeping up with everything.
Yeah, there's like 2 tournaments going on at the moment. It's like a Dota overload.
Shoutouts to Civilization 6, new DLC. It's pretty good.
But also joining us is our first ever guest. We've ditched Marco forever, well, pending forever, and replaced him with guest Nick. Guest Nick, how are you? Welcome to the pod.
Hello. I'm excited to be here. Going to do my best to try and replace Marco, perhaps on a permanent basis.
Yeah, of course. There's a frantic rush on the training ground for match day positions, I think.
It's brutal at the top.
Absolutely brutal, yeah.
I'm sure Marco's sweating wherever he is. Is it Malaysia? I can't remember.
Yeah. I mean, he's just sweating. I think everyone in Malaysia sweats, right?
Yeah, Asia. But I just mean like he's going to listen to this pod and be like, I got to get back as quick as possible or else I'm going to be replaced.
Yeah, of course. We've got a good episode lined up today. We've got a couple of fan questions, which I will just say now. If you want your fan question discussed on the podcast, email us at newmetapodcast@hotmail.com. Hotmail, still a thing in 2019. We're keeping it alive.
Bringing it back.
Yeah, so we'll probably spend 10 minutes on those 2 questions each. Give them some love. A couple fun ones in there. And then we've been blessed with a mini patch. Ice Frog has descended down from his heavenly pond and given us 7.21b. So we'll be sure to talk about that for a while, probably 20-25 minutes. And by the time those 2 things are done, that's probably episode 7 completed. But it won't be the last episode of this week. In fact, as it stands, there might be another 1 or maybe even 2 episodes being churned out this week. So plenty more topics to come very soon.
Shouldn't we have a little intro from Nick? Just so
we absolutely
they don't think we're just like, who's this random guy we just pick up?
Yeah,
just how we know him at least.
Yeah, sorry.
Mr.
I know
Nick.
Know Nick so well that I just rushed over our intro. Yeah, Nick, what's your history in Dota? When did you start and what are you about?
So I started playing Dota in, I think, 2012. It was Dota 2. I played Dota 1 a little bit, but only against bots, never against real human beings. And Joe, Marco's brother, got me into the game. And I basically learned from Joe raging at me a lot. And from there, I climbed from being terrible to being a little less terrible. And
you're similar to Adam. You're kind of a 5. Well, that's your mainly play support, right?
Yeah, I almost exclusively play 5. But unlike Adam, I can't really play many other roles. Right. But I enjoy playing 5. And I get frustrated when other people play 5 and don't buy the wards. So I just play 5 and buy the wards myself now.
Yeah, no, that's definitely true. We had a rare... Adam, did we tell you about this? We had a rare experience in our game yesterday where me and Nick were playing and 2 people on our team just picked position 4 and 5 straight away.
Wow.
I know. It was exciting. Nick had to play some core, which was bad in this... Nick playing core was fine, kind of, but what was much worse was them playing support, and I could feel the pain in Nick's voice when both our Lion and our Witch Doctor were rushing point boosters at like 8 minutes.
That feels bad.
Yeah. To be fair, they were terrible, but so was I. My tide was awful, so we were equally bad. But it was painful all around.
Yeah. There was some. I feel like your tide. It was just a couple of key moments that were bad, but their like whole strategy was bizarre.
Yeah, that whole macro approach to the game was just wrong.
I had some awful ravages, like really terrible.
Shiva ravages?
I think one was possibly a Shiva ravage. We shouldn't talk about that too much because it sent me down a dark path.
Yeah. But just before we go on, it was funny. There's like 4 wards in the stash, like whatever. That happens quite often, I suppose, in random party pubs. And then it's just rough clicking on their hero icon and seeing a point booster, and it's like, this is 12,000 gold that could be basically anything else and would provide higher impact. But yeah, shouldn't
12,000.
Yeah. 1,200.
1,200, yeah, sorry. 12,000.
Yeah, 12,000. Damn.
Dagon 10.
No, but I know what Nick's talking about. It feels bad when somebody else plays 5 and they won't get the wards. Like, even if I'm playing 4, it's so hard to not just buy out all the support items as a 4, but then you make yourself a 4.5, and it's really not the optimal way of going about a game.
I ended up buying some wards. Not that many, but more than I should have on a tide. But yeah. We lost, just to make that clear.
Yeah, oh yeah.
In case
That wasn't obvious, we lost. Yeah.
Well, what did you play, Stan?
I played TA. It was...
Oh, well, that...
It was
Yikes.
My TA was okay, but I kind of... It's the classic situation where they had some ogre or something that just destroyed the game.
Yeah.
I had no vision mid, so I was getting ganked with like Ignite, which was like destroying my refraction, and then it was just a rough game, but it was kind of fun, but rough. So
yeah, usually when we party stack, Nick's always the 5, so he's got the extensive 5 position knowledge.
Yeah, I guess Nick is the glue of the stack.
Yeah, so when somebody comes in and snipes that 5 pick, it's like, what are we going to...
Yeah, it's got a double bad effect, because I'm not 5, and then I'm also can't play non-5 roles.
So, like I mentioned earlier, fan mail. Maybe in the future, the dream future is we have an episode where we just do like fan Q&A. But I feel like that
would be pretty big pod.
Insane.
I thought you were going to say maybe in the future we could have a podcast with the entire 5 stack of us.
Oh, that'd be sick. Yeah,
that'd be
will
pretty
happen,
sick too.
See, that will definitely happen, because even if we have no fans, we'll still do that. But the fan mail episode requires enough fans where you have enough to just answer questions. Anyway, that's like 2 months down the line, maybe. Who knows?
The 5-man podcast. I mean, that's every time we play a 5 stack, we kind of just do a podcast anyway. That's kind of how we play.
Yeah. So the fan mail, we'll start with the question from Legend John. This is a mythical man whom we know nothing about. He has a weird cryptic email address, and his name is just John. No online alias, no second name, it's just John. And he's a fan of the pod, so thank you, John.
Shout out to John.
Yeah, major shout out to John.
Huge shout out to John. I'm so excited. We're starting to get emails from people and reviews that aren't my friends or mom. It's pretty... That's
all my alternate accounts.
Yeah. These are actual people. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah. John wants to know what our most and least favorite heroes are. So he doesn't specify whether it's like for playing or just in general. So interpret it how you will. Adam, what's your favorite hero, do you think?
I feel like it changes. It's I think my favorite hero to play is Mirana. It's a very versatile hero. She's my top 3 most played because, obviously, I think everyone should be able to guess by now, Lich and Crystal Maiden. That's the bread and butter. But I feel like I can't talk about them every pod. So
it's like you're leaning on your like source material so hard in these podcasts.
Yeah, I know, right? So number 3 is Mirana, and I don't know. I feel like she kind of, how you have like a hero maybe that you just feel like lines up with your personality, or like you just understand how it works.
Yeah, for sure.
Other thing, it's like a foreign language, but it's like, give me a Mirana. I'm like, I know how to do this. I can throw out some arrows, try and do a little Pythagorean theorem, as like trying to measure out how fast they're moving and stuff, trying to snipe some arrows.
The nice thing about arrow is if you don't hit it, then it's like, oh well. But when you do hit it, you feel like you're the man.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a slow enough projectile that it's like, well, it's not meant to hit, so it's not. You're not going to get flamed for missing it unless it's like it's a setup with like Bane sleep or something. Whereas like a hook, it's like, oh come on, you missed a hook.
I like her as a core. I mean, I played her throughout the years as everything. I will say I do get pretty internally triggered if we have a 4-position Mirana on the team. Like,
oh god,
that can be a pretty big do nothing hero. But if you have stun setups, it's actually very strong. Like I had a game recently with a Sven Mirana lane with a Mirana 4, and that was just a joke. Stormhammer into arrow, and then just kills over and over again.
She must be one of the heroes that's closest to being able to play in every position, though, right?
Definitely.
She's a flex pick for our stack. We've gone away from it a little bit more now, but I feel, especially when we're playing with Joe and the whole crew, Mirana just invariably finds her way into like loads of odd games.
Yeah, she's a really strong pub hero. Moonlight Shadow is always going to be big game, especially in a pub game, because, forcing the opponent to buy detection or else they kind of lose is a big plus. And I didn't play her a ton after she kind of got buffed into like 1 position mid, like 1 or 2, with the leaps and stuff. I started to play her a little bit after leap got nerfed a little, but it was like Omega strong when you had the plus 100 leap attack speed. I think it's down to 80 now, but I like her as a right clicker. Her Starfall is pretty strong for farming. She's a little bit mana intensive, but the double Storm fall on a target you arrow is so huge. You can kind of 100 to 0 people really fast, especially with leap follow up. I do miss leap disjoining things. That used to be so fun, but that'd be a little too, because it'd be a little too strong if you gave Mirana 3 leap charges and they still dodged everything.
Yeah, that's crazy. Also, they changed. You used to be able to do like 360 leaps, but now you always face the same way.
Yeah,
that kind of sucks.
It says here her attack speed bonus at level 4 is 120, so that is still extremely strong.
Yeah, but with the talent is plus 80, so then it goes up to 200.
200. That's a lot of attack speed.
Yeah, she's really fun with Maelstrom and MKB type stuff, pop people down. So she'd probably be my most favorite, just because of her versatility, and I just never gets old throwing out arrows for sure. Yeah. And then that's my most favorite to play. Least favorite, I think, to play and in game, I think they're the same. Honestly, this is one of my lowest win rate heroes, so it kind of goes line in line, is Invoker. There definitely been some times when I've been upset at an Invoker, and I've been in our WhatsApp saying like, this game would be so much better, like Dota 2 would be so much better. Invoker just was never a hero. Yeah,
I have to say, I saw this one coming because I know I'm in the same boat as you, where I've definitely complained about Invoker a lot. So he's actually like fine, like for me at the moment.
Yeah, he's fine, but
he's fine, but he is just annoying. He's got so many spells. It's just like, why do you have so many spells?
It's like his toolkit has everything. I know he's weak early, but I just feel like Invoker definitely has the Pudge phenomenon, where if he's on your team, he's completely useless. If he's on the other team, he's like a god. Sunstrikes everywhere.
He's also got the other thing that I don't like about Invoker. Well, is I like all the heroes pretty much. It's not like I don't like Invoker, but just this is kind of like just a fun question.
Right.
But one of the things about Invoker that's annoying as well is that I don't like the fact that he's a hero that some people just play Invoker, and that's like the only hero they play.
It's like I main Invoker.
Yeah, like you'll see little clips on like Twitch clip compilations on YouTube of random streamers that just play Invoker doing some crazy combo, and it's like, yeah, but like I'm so bored of seeing Invoker refresher combos on like top 10 plays or whatever. It's like, yeah, I've seen it before. Come on, it's the same.
Yeah,
thing.
He does do a ton of damage.
Yeah, Cataclysm's a crazy spell.
Yeah, Cataclysm, that's pretty wild too. I could go line by line, like every spell. I could tell you a time where it's made me absurdly angry. Like it just doesn't matter. Like Cold Snap, combined with an Urn, I'm already super angry. Or the one like you forget the Invokers in your games, you're just walking back to base because you're bad. because that's what it seems like invariably every time there's an forget he exists during the landing stage, and I walk back to base and I get blown up with the Sunstrike.
Yeah.
So I think he's an exciting hero. I enjoy watching games where he's in, and I don't get frustrated playing against him. So I have a very
enjoy watching. I agree, actually. I do enjoy watching games that he's in. It's just annoying.
Well, that's because I'm not in them.
Yeah.
Like it's okay to watch. It's just like when you're in the moment. Oh, I have a double damage rune. Oh, okay, got purged off with a tornado because tornado should be able to purge, right? He has like everything. He can do every ice wall. Oh, I can't move. Like you can move, but it's almost worse than a root. Force Spirits is all right, I guess, until he throws Alacrity on it and takes a building.
He used to get 2 pretty early on. That's changed at least.
Let's see what Meteor. That's all right.
I mean, we don't have to list every spell.
I'm thinking it's like
Adam has a real bone to pick here.
Yeah, I know. We're going deep.
EMP can be pretty annoying to deal with.
EMP annoys me at times.
It's pretty hard to pull off nowadays. With the tornado EMP, like you can get away for the most part, but if you're playing a pretty mana intensive hero, that can feel like a pretty big grief.
Oh, definitely.
And I don't know. I think that's it. That's my soapbox. That's my TED Talk.
Enough.
Thanks for listening.
Whew.
I don't know. I feel like Ghostwalk. That's the one I hate the most, honestly, because he's kind of got the Shadow Fiend effect, where if you kill him a couple times, you can really get on, stop him from snowballing. But that one time when you almost get him and he just pops that Ghostwalk and gets away, that's a feels bad. That's like a what could have been.
Yeah. God, John, I think you got more than you bargained for, John, to be honest, on these questions. we went into what spells do you hate the most? Nick, do you have you can take the floor on what's your favourite hero, do you think?
Sure. So I guess for favourite hero I have 2 answers. One is normally my favourite hero to play is Witch Doctor. So for kind of the reasons I don't describe about Marana, I just feel like I understand the hero. I speak the right language. But recently I've stopped playing
It's a cool language as well.
It is a cool language. But recently I feel like I've stopped playing him because I usually first pick in pubs. But if you first pick Witch Doctor, it's so easy for the enemy to pick cores that just don't care that you have a Witch Doctor, like a Slark or a Storm Spirit.
Yeah.
So my other answer then, because I don't play Witch Doctor very much, would be Clock. And to be honest, I don't play Clock much either, but Clock is a hero that's always exciting to watch, I think. I've got memories of watching Bulba tear it up for Liquid as Clock. And so I always enjoy playing Clock, enjoy watching him. I like games where Clock's in. When you just land a hook, it's an exciting thing.
Liquid are doing it.
Absolutely.
Clock's a great hero.
Silent of the Fall, Liquid are doing it.
Bulba was a hero that day.
Yeah, TI3, man. That was so I don't know. That was huge. He was a god on that game. If no one's ever watched Team Liquid TI3 versus LGD, just even a highlight video, I'd highly recommend, because Bulba Clockwork he was hitting so many blind hooks in the trees. It was great.
Yeah, imagine having never seen that game. Excuse me. Actually, I've never seen that game.
Yeah, I even just a highlight video, because there's so many. Like he takes over the game just with, it was 3 position clock, but I mean, it was kind of like the old TI Magic, because it was still in. Was it? I don't remember that. Was it the Bellevue or something? It wasn't in.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It was in
Key
that
Arena yet.
theater,
it was in the theater, the smaller theater, so it was kind of louder, and LD was still casting.
We might have to have a joint highlight viewing watching just to rewatch that game.
It's funny you say that, because next week, our episode that should be coming out on Friday, that's like a look back in the time capsule episode. At least that's what it's planned to be.
Yeah.
We'll go over like.
I've already said too much then.
Yeah. So I'll jump in and I'll say my. Oh wait, have you said your least favorite hero? I'll hold my jump. False start.
Okay, we've glimpsed you back for just a second.
Oh, they're unbelievable. Marco's never coming back. Anyway,
so my least favorite hero, unfortunately, is a pretty boring answer. It's just techies. I hate techies on my team. I hate techies on the other team. I'd be happy if he was just removed from the game. I know that would upset a lot of people who spend a lot of money on their Arcanas, but It's like when Techies is in the game is almost a fundamentally different game. You're not playing Dota anymore. So he's my answer for least favorite hero. No questions asked.
I wonder what percentage of the Dota player base would be happy with Techies gone. It must be reasonably.
I feel like there's a lot of people that report just if you pick Techies, they report you. I feel like all of them be pretty strong in the camp.
It's a funny hero as well because I actually feel like it's quite good. At the moment,
if someone knows how to play Techies, they can be extremely effective.
Yeah. When someone picks a Techies in my game, if it's like one of the first few picks and it's not like some griefer like lost the role for mid pick, I actually don't mind it, but it does change the way you play. It's a weird game. It's got that X factor thing where you can just win the game in the late game with some stupid, especially when the mines can move and you can move them all together and like stupid stuff like that.
You should always get the damage talent. I feel like the 251.
I mean, I played a game the other day against a Techies where you stacked bombs on top of each other and got like a ultra kill, and that was that. I mean, I don't know.
You're marching the Valkyrie playing in the background.
Yeah.
I feel like I'd be happy maybe if Gaben added an option to queuing, like click here to queue without Techies. So that way people who like to play it can keep it in the game, but I can go without.
Compendium stretch goal.
Yeah, I don't see him very much these days, which is good. But when I do see him, it upsets me a bit.
It doesn't. Yeah. I don't think I get particularly bothered if he's in the game, but I don't like how he makes games. They either are really fast, because either you roll the Techies or if they're really far ahead, he rolls your building. So it's like your games are either 20 minutes or like an hour. Yeah. There's no like 35-minute Techies game, it feels like. The game just drags forever.
I would say I don't mind playing with the Techies, but I do hate playing against Techies. It's so annoying. I mean, everyone that plays Dota knows why this is annoying. There are weird tricks to him, though. Like sometimes I played it with a Techies the other day who basically just used Blast Off onto the enemy rune, did a ton of damage to both heroes, and then just denied himself to a tower, and then just came back and basically did it again. And I was like, sort of weird in theory, but I was like, I suppose so. Just doing tons of damage.
It's not dissimilar to that Skyrath thing you guys were talking about.
It's not.
Was it episode 1, perhaps? Throwback to then.
Yeah.
Where you spend all your mana on Skyrath and then kill yourself.
Yeah.
I've seen it where they do that. Well, they just bring out salves. They like what you said, suicide onto runes, and then back off, salve up, do it again.
Yeah.
Which is kind of wild. I don't know if that's worth, but it does lull people into a false sense of like, oh, he can't do that again, half health. But if you just salve up, you can just keep doing it and then really tax the regen.
Yeah. I got just one final thing on Techies to have a kind of funny story. When I first got into Dota, I think I'd played a couple of games of Lich or something random and a couple of games of Wind Ranger, and I had no idea what any of the heroes did or what any of them were called. And I was sort of vaguely in conversation with Marco, who had got me into the game, and I just picked a random hero and I was like, oh, I'm going to play a bunch of games of Wind Ranger. And Marco would be like, oh, okay, cool. You do that. And then I like talked to him a little bit about the games and the hero and stuff. And then I think it was honestly like the third hero I picked out was Techies. And I was like, oh, I'm going to go and play a bunch of games of Techies. This hero looks kind of interesting. He's got bombs. And he was like, no, don't. Honestly, just don't. Any other hero, don't start playing Techies. You could see like a level. You could see a future where I'm like Dota plus level 20 Techie spammer, and he didn't want to have that in his life. So
yeah, good shot, Marco.
Yeah, he's got no transferable skills to learn towards another hero. You know, it's like Techies. You can't even learn the last hit with because he had 30 damage basically, and then he was 270 move speed. Like nothing else plays like him, so you can't even be like, you can learn the game on this hero. It's like, no. Else.
He does feel like a weird hero where it's just like an Easter egg. Like you've got input like a weird button, like a secret character from Street Fighter or something. Like he's so weird and unique. You've got to type in Gaben clap on the Dota home screen, and like a weird Easter egg pops up where Techies is in the game.
Yeah,
I mean that's how often new heroes are hinted at. Monkey King was hinted at through Easter eggs for a long time. Gaben does leave exciting clues for the rest of us. Or maybe Ice Frog.
Someone. The higher power.
Mars incoming.
God, Mars. Isn't it meant to be end of February?
Sometime soon.
Oh yeah, that's exciting. I'd forgotten about that.
Next pod, nostalgia episode / Mars.
Yeah.
We'll see.
It'll be super broken, just like every hero that gets added.
Yeah. I hope there's some cool... I kind of hope it's a micro hero.
Isn't it going to be a strength hero? It'll just be another race car strength hero, surely.
Yeah, I don't think the term Mars and like the warmongering art and stuff doesn't make me think it's going to be anything with any real intricacy.
Well, I think it'll be strength, but I think there'll be summons, because in the trailer that the hero walks over a cliff edge or something, and there's a bunch of dudes around him. So I don't know.
Clinks 2.0. Here we go.
Yeah. Burning warrior army. Undead warrior
Some
army.
of his spells are known in terms of their name, at least. One of them is called Spear Wall, and one of them is called Phalanx. So make of that what you will.
Spear Wall.
The notes here say Spear Wall is likely a vector-targeted spell. Maybe a bit like
throw a wall behind somebody, I would think.
Like Darkseer.
Yeah.
His wall is vector-targeted now.
But probably you can't walk through it, I would think.
Yeah, that makes sense. That'd be a cool new mechanic. A bit like Fisher, but vector-targeted Fisher kind of thing.
Yeah.
Maybe. We'll see. It'll probably have some ridiculously broken mechanic as well. It won't just be like a wall. It'll be like a wall that if you walk into it, you get like poisoned over on you or something. Yeah, and stunned. Yeah. So,
because it's spears, so it'd be spiky. So
yes,
probably some dot.
This is some good detective work right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, so Stan, your favorite and least favorite heroes?
Yeah. Favorite. It's kind of the obvious answer, but my favorite would be Meepo for sure, probably. Just because I've played so many games of Meepo. How many games of Meepo have I played? Like 200 or something? Yeah, 240. So I just played too many games of Meepo and like grinded the hero too much. Did
you think like when you started playing him, was it kind of a natural, this hero makes sense for me, or is it you had to work hard for it to get where you are now?
It definitely was like a steeper learning curve than other heroes. Like I think my second ever game of Viper was like some 20-0 crush or something. I mean, I was like 500 MMR or something. But Meepo was loads of losses at the start. But it definitely was a hero that instantly appealed to me because of playing StarCraft loads. And I was a very late convert from StarCraft to DotA. So I still, even now, like I still think that StarCraft's like a superior game in some aspect, in like many ways, even though I enjoy DotA way more. And I don't play StarCraft anymore at all.
StarCraft is a great game. I do miss that sometimes.
Yeah, but I was I was like a late convert, so a hero that has some aspect of like unit control and control groups. I was like, oh, this hero is so cool. And I saw some compilation, or I saw some game highlight of like Abed throwing out tons of Earthbinds and stuff from unique units, and I was like, oh, this hero is so sick. I've got to play him loads, and then I did. And also I've done a lot. I just played loads of games with him, and he's like a cool pick in the pro scene, so whenever I see him in a pro match, it's always like super hype. So that's my obvious answer for favourite. As for least favourite, I don't like Kunkka very much. I don't really know what that's based on.
That's an interesting one.
I just don't really... The reason I say he's my least favourite hero is because I ban Kunkka at the moment. I ban Kunkka a bunch. I ban Invoker and I ban Kunkka.
He's an annoying mid to go against, that's for sure.
Such an annoying mid, yeah. I don't like Pudge.
Tidebringer denies.
Pudge is so annoying. Getting hooked, it just sucks. It's like the most annoying spell ever when you get hooked. Because it doesn't matter how far ahead you are. If you get hooked,
Pudge wins games.
Pudge wins
like
games.
Yeah. Kunkka, I don't know. Kunkka to me used to feel more exciting because for whatever reason, X marks the spot used to be less prominent. And so Kunkka would all be about hitting torrents, kind of like a skill shot. But these days, that's just not the case. Playing against Kunkka, you always get X marked and then torrented. There's never these blind torrents, which used to make him an exciting hero for me.
Like attacker play Kunkka, it's like, whoa, that's a completely different hero.
Yeah,
he takes it to the next level.
Instead of some combo machine, but you can just combo machine Kunkka to a victory.
Yeah, maybe I'm just nostalgia remembering wrong, and he's always been a combo machine. But I felt like he didn't always used to be a combo machine, and that made him more exciting to watch and play against.
Yeah, I also There are some other random heroes that I like for no particular reason. I really like Batrider.
Batrider's cool. I want to see more Batrider in my games.
Yeah. I like Leshrac as well, as a mid laner. I have like really weird things in my head. Like I'll see a Lesh, and if it's mid, I love it. But if it's side lane Lesh, I don't like it for some reason.
Yeah, no,
It's like,
no
makes
thanks.
no sense. I really like Necro as well. Playing Necro feels amazing. When you get ganked by like 3 heroes and you Ghost Shroud heal wand to full and turn, and they're like, oh crap, now we need to run, and you like scythe them down with your.
I see too much
Heartstopper and
Necro
stuff.
these days. He's so popular at the moment.
I feel he's not that popular. He was popular. Do you remember in TI7 when he was like the green heroes were just like a menace? That was like peak Necro time. TI7.
Well, wasn't Necro big at TI8 too?
I mean, he wasn't picked in the finals.
I feel like Necro, or maybe it was 719, he was pretty good.
Well, he stayed good after TI7 for a while.
Got nerfed for a little bit, and now he's still okay because of Ghost Shroud being strong right now.
Yeah, Ghost Shroud's strong right now.
I don't know, Stan. They asked for your most and least favorite, and you're just like, I like this hero a lot, but I also kind of think these heroes are pretty okay too.
My favorite hero is Meepo. My least favorite, I'm not sure about. I don't really
But
have.
you're like at a
least favorite.
7.5 on a Lash, and you think these other heroes are kind of cool too.
Yeah,
Did you not say you disliked Kunkka?
I don't like Kunkka, but there's a lot of heroes that I don't really like. I don't really like Tiny. We can't just go through. I'm just throwing out heroes that I don't really like very much.
Let's go with Meepo and Pudge. Is that what you said?
And Meepo and Meathook.
Yeah, Meepo and Meathook. Yeah, so the spell. It's really just a spell.
Yeah, it's just.
And that's why I don't like Invokers, because he has a bunch of spells.
Yeah, he's got too many spells.
At what point does a bunch of spells become a hero?
Well,
How
he
long's
just
a
has
piece of
more
string?
spells than everyone. So, because like Marco says, since he's not here, cast spells win games. Well, if Invoker has more spells than everyone, he just gets to win more games.
Yeah.
And also part of it is that, you know, I watch these other Invokers and they do all the things they do and they win, and I have like a 28% win rate on Invokers. It's like I know I can't do that myself.
So there's some jealousy here as well.
Not really jealousy. It's just like I don't want to
Sounds like it. Just a
deal
little
with
bit.
it.
Just a little bit.
I don't want to invest the time into it, honestly. When I play him, I just go Quas Exhort, just Quas Exhort, no X. So I have 3 spells, and
Yeah.
I just
You can pretend you're a normal
or 4 spells, I guess. Yeah, 4 spells.
Yeah. Final answer on least favorite hero is actually Drow Ranger, because Drow Ranger's so boring.
No, she's awesome.
We're not actually. I mean, I don't have a least favorite hero, but we've been.
I'm surprised Adam didn't mention her as one of his favorite heroes. I know
Well,
he
she's
loves
different
John.
now. She used
She's
to be
a-
my favorite back. They changed marksmanship. She's still fun, but not the same.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like with her, it's like she's too much of a snowballer now. I feel like I don't know. If you don't win really fast, she's kind of falls off until she hits level 25, and then she's got the really great cool production talent. A lot of fun to play with.
We've been talking. I mentioned earlier about how it'd be cool to have an episode where we just answer fan mail, and this episode's quickly turning into that.
Yeah,
Because we spent about 25 minutes on a question from John.
Yep.
So
Shout outs to John.
We'll jump to.
He got his money worth for sending in an email.
Definitely got his money's worth. Look at how good it is when you send an email in. We literally spend 20 minutes rambling on about how every invoker spell is broken.
Well, that's
So please just email in.
that's some really strong fan service we got going on.
Oh,
We're
for
really
sure.
we're all about integrating with our community and really making them feel appreciated.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll jump to the next question, which is basically a classic question. We don't need to spend too long on this one because I already gave a written response that was a bit longer, but basically, what tips briefly would you give, or a couple of important things that you'd give for someone trying to climb out of the trench, the dreaded trench, the 1K/2K/3K probably trench of Dota, where games are seemingly random and uncontrollable and bad and Dota sucks and I can't do anything. What key pieces of tipperoos would you give?
Well, who we want to shout out who asked this question as well?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.
So
We'll shout out. I mean, it's our boy Fruity.
Where's Fruity from?
The sweetest tasting Australian fruit, Mr. Fruity Fruit himself, from Australia.
Well, thank you for your question, Sir Fruit,
Yeah.
Mr. Fruity.
Down under fruit.
Yeah. Let's see. Advice to give. I would just focus on my own gameplay, as hard as that is to do. If you focus on yourself over the course of however extended period of time, like how many games you play, you'll, as a player, will get better, and eventually the MMO will increase.
Absolutely. If you're in the 2K, and this is true much above 2K, if you're in the 2K bracket, you're just doing a lot of the basics wrong. And just small improvements on that will shoot you right up. Learn to last hit better, learn to position better.
Yeah. Positioning is a big one that we talked about, that I said when I emailed back, is just like, because we brought this up on our group chat a bit, brought up the question, and positioning was one that everyone agreed is done so terribly at low. It's something that we're all guilty of in all our games, in all levels, but it's particularly, the lower you go, your positioning is going to be woeful. And it's super important not to die in Dota, especially when you're playing position 1 and 2. If you look at a game at the highest level, there's seldom more than sort of 15 deaths on one team. Whereas if you go to like a low level prob, it's like 50-30 or something. You trying to avoid dying is something you should be actively thinking about in your positioning, casting your spells, getting back, coming back when your spells are off cooldown. Simple things like this.
Yeah, I think we all agreed that if you just go into a game, I guess there's a lot of value in maybe before you start playing to even be like, what do I want to work on today? That's something that I need to start doing. But if you go into your games for the day and I think we all agreed that if you just try to minimize deaths, that you would climb pretty quickly. Because if you think about it, a death is a lot more than just the gold you lose, because you lose gold yourself, you give gold to the opponent and XP to the opponent. You miss out on gold while you're dead, or on XP while you're dead, and gold, and they get map control, and then you may make another mistake like TP out the lane, so then you're not around for another that happens later within your TP cooldown. It kind of can all snowball on top of itself. But if you try and minimize your death number, you can be on the map a lot more and just get more out of the map. So if you get more out of the map, you have a better chance at winning.
Yeah.
Can I also add some stuff on the mentality side of things? I know this
Definitely.
is another episode has already covered this in the podcast. But one thing is, when you're playing at that level, everyone is bad. And this is true basically all the way up to the top of Dota. Everyone is bad, including you, including your teammates, including the enemy. So maybe you're getting frustrated at your teammates, but the enemy is bad too. So the point is that any game is still winnable. And recently, Adam and I played a game. And I think we lost a bad team fight. 3 of us were dead. Our base was exposed. And Adam says to me, this game is over. And I say to him, no, it's not, because the enemy is bad. And it's true. They didn't push us. They didn't win. They could have won. And we ended up coming back that game. So stay positive. Focus on yourself. Don't focus on how bad your teammates are. Every game is winnable up until the throne dies.
Yeah, and it's honest, like Nick just said, focus on what is controllable, which is your own actions and what you do, and don't engage in like just bullshit. Just concentrate on yourself and doing the best that you can as your hero to improve the game. And you'd be surprised how if you do that, these uncontrollable factors suddenly can magically sort themselves out. If you just don't add to the negative feedback loop of like, oh, game's done, like, oh, I'm done, like all this negative stuff, suddenly it makes the atmosphere, and it makes it a lot easier for your team to drag themselves out of that as well. So just, it sounds simple, and it is simple. I know it's much harder to do in practice, but staying positive and staying focused on what is controllable in your own stuff is as important as what you actually do with your buttons.
There's a mentality, I think you can go 2 different ways is you can. I think there's a lot of value in playing with your team, even if what they say to do isn't maybe the correct. Maybe you don't think it's the correct thing to do at the moment. But if you play with your team and you guys play as 5, you have a much better chance at succeeding than if you went off on your own. So I would say play with your team, because a lot of the times maybe the other team won't have everybody there. So maybe you guys can take some fights and stuff and win games that way. But there are also other times that if you think your team is just kind of going off the rails, being crazy, just play the other side of the map and don't get sucked into the black hole. So it's kind of like I'm giving opposite advice.
Yeah, no, there's definitely ways to play it. If I was suddenly thrown back to 1,500 MMR, I would probably just pick Juggernaut or PA or Terrorblade, and honestly, I would just AFK farm for 25 minutes and win the game by myself. That's what I'd try and do. Easier said than done, but that's what I'd try and do. So
focusing on a small hero pool is really important.
Yeah.
I think at that level, just get good at a small set of heroes, and you can just specialize in those.
I think you just got to either play. You got to play with the team in the big moments. But if you think your team is like going off the rails and just the game is kind of like a clown fiesta, there's a lot to be said for just shoving waves. You could almost use your team as a distraction and just shove the lane in as hard as possible. And you can get yourself pretty farmed that way and take buildings. And then if you're shoving the wave really hard, you're going to focus, make people rotate to you. And then what your team is doing, the Clown Fiesta stuff, they actually can take some fights and get some picks if you're splitting the map.
Exactly,
so,
and the enemy team has to suddenly come to your lane. I mean, just pushing lanes in general is just like so OP. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, just shove waves. And you can, I would say, preferably you would be a core, but honestly, you can do that as a support as well. I mean, I'm not going to say, I won't go as far as to say like cut waves. Cutting waves is kind of it's a bit of a more intricate skill if you don't want to die doing it. But there are definitely games where I've been Crystal Maiden and I've just been super deep in the other team side of the map and just ulted a wave and TP'd out. And then they have to be forced to respond to it. There's a lot of value in doing something like that. So
yeah, it's all good tips. And just keep grinding.
Yeah, it's a grind.
Eventually,
even if you do just a couple things better and you get 5 percentage points out of it, I mean, that's 5 percentage points is huge, but it's still going to take a lot of games for that 5 percentage points to show up. You know, you have to grind.
There's no quick fix. Yeah, you're going to have to play games. Like, you're going to have to put in games to ever climb. You know, you're not going to magically go over a couple of replays, take in a couple of tips, and suddenly increase your win rate by 15%. You know, we're talking about small margins here, and that's only through a lot of games that you're going to.
And it really doesn't, is on the topic of small margins, it does not take very many, you don't have to correct very many small mistakes to translate it into wins. Because the game can turn on, a single game can turn on one tiny mistake. So if you just correct a few mistakes a game, I mean, the team that makes the least amount of mistakes is going to win. So
I think so. I think we pretty much nailed that question. Well, nailed it in the sense of we've answered it well. There's 1,000 different ways you can answer it because this is Dota after all. So without further ado, we'll move on to the second mini part. We're blessed with a patch, a 7.21b.
A mini patch.
A mini patch, yeah. Mini patch. Is there anything in here we want to go over particularly? There's a few mildly important stuff. Midas is really
Midas
good.
is still like super strong.
Doesn't matter about this nerf, it's still really good.
Opinions are now split more on it though, but yeah, it's still being bought a lot.
Yeah. I was in the camp that you don't really, I always don't like buying the hand of Midas for the gold anyways. Like, it's for the XP, I feel like.
And also just attack speed. When you can...
Yeah.
It's just good attack speed. It's fine.
Attack speed and XP. And then the gold is a nice bonus.
We don't need to dive into these. We can just give the headlines, and the headline is Hand of Midas is still good. Don't even worry about it, boys. It's fine.
Now, I haven't been able to watch MDL Macau. Is that what it is? I think.
Yeah.
The tournament, but there have been a lot of Midases, right? Like
tons.
I think you said some games with like 6 heroes have a Midas, so it's like not even just a core thing. It's like supports as well, or is it?
I think I watched 2 games in a row where there was 5. There was one offlaner that didn't have it, and
so it was all cores.
All cores, yeah, it was all cores. Yeah. It's still good. You can buy it on a lot of heroes.
Yeah, well, the thing is it feels like, man, if the other team gets Midases, we have to too. You know, can't fall behind him. That kind of gets strange.
Well, I mean, the other response is if the other team's buying a lot of Midases, buy more mid-game items and try and win the game before Midases do anything.
Yeah,
that can be tricky to do sometimes. But it's
right, if you don't pull that off, then it's.
But it is the most correct response, I think. If you try and play catch-up by buying Midases after them, you've already put yourself behind. And Midases don't do anything for such a long time that you can punish teams that get too many of them.
Yeah, although I think the reason why Midas is good at the moment is because it actually, on the kind of heroes that are buying them, which is these like, sort of strength melee cores and stuff, just having the gloves of haste is really strong. Like just the attack speed from Midas is actually really good. It's sort of almost replacing the sort of Wraith Band craze of just giving how good attack speed is. It increases your farming speed just having gloves of haste. Obviously, compared to other items, it's way not gonna. It's like nothing in comparison because you've got a 1,500 gold recipe or whatever. But it's not. The reason it's able to be built a lot is because I think attack speed at the moment is just bonkers good, especially when there's loads of Vlads and loads of auras to lifesteal and bonus damage off. Like heroes are really enjoying attack speed in this patch.
Yeah, Midas is 40 attack speed. A glove of haste gives you 20. Treads gives you 20. So
it's crazy attack speed. It's really
and
high.
Treads is 1,400. What is a Midas? Roughly one is like 2k maybe. 2.1. Yeah. You get double the attack speed for only 1.5 times as much gold. So it's kind of value in that sense. And it's like you said. I mean, a lifestealer. He's going to want that attack speed. That's pretty huge for the kind of cores that are being picked.
Yeah.
I heard that Arteezy went Spectre Midas, like Midas, was it Midas Manta?
Oh, yeah.
Midas Diffusal Manta or something, which sounds crazy. But
2 Spectres today went Midas. Yeah. Ramses went Midas, Spectre twice.
She wants the levels and stuff, but just... Man, Midas Spectre without Radiance and just Spec with a Midas in general. That's a new look for sure.
Yeah. Other headlines I've written down here. CK was nerfed a little bit, but he's still fine. Still pretty good. Oh, should we go to CM actually? Because this is kind of funny.
Yeah.
This is actually a funny change.
Her new ult changed. She now has, 20 armor when she's ulting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At all levels, yeah, it's the same. It's so stupid. 20 armor's so high.
Doesn't her also like reduce attack speed around her? I'm not sure.
Yes. Yeah.
So so you basically can't.
It's slow and attack speed slow.
So you can't right click her. You really need to disable or some way to stop her ulting.
I mean, I like it. She definitely I mean, I don't know if this was the way I would buff the hero, but it's nice. I mean, I'll take it. You know.
It's kind of an ice frog way to buff a hero where she has a lot of weaknesses, but instead of fixing the weaknesses, he just makes something else stronger. It's interesting.
Made it a lot stronger. I feel like
now you really kind of let it go.
You definitely get it at 6 now for sure. It used to be a lot of the time I wouldn't skill it because despite being an int hero, she's one of the dumbest heroes in the game. So she really couldn't cast 3 spells for a long time.
Yeah,
and it's 200 mana at level 6 is pretty huge on her mana pool. But
right, and it's not like Witch Doctor ult where if you time it right, so you wait till all their stunts have been used and you get it off at the right time, it can be kind of devastating, I think.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah,
especially since you just can't power auto attack your way through her because she's made out of paper. You know, that would be the other thing to do. Is like, oh, okay, they didn't stun me, but I only lived for a half second because
Well,
I am
yeah.
so weak. So
Wraith
it's pretty
King
cool.
killed me or something like that.
Yeah. I haven't been having a lot of success in my bracket with Crystal Maiden, but a lot of my friends have been having success with her in Legend and below. So I think she's mainly because if I first pick CM, I get counterpicked pretty hard in terms of the cores rolling me over. But CM is very strong with the Arcane Aura still. It's a good way of empowering your team. If you want, maybe add that to the 2K Trench thing, is pick Crystal Maiden. You can make all your teammates better just by existing.
It says here she has positive win rate in all ranks. It's lowest in the Divine Immortal area, but it's still 52%. So she's a viable hero, it looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably just a bit of anecdotal stuff on my end. But I definitely want to try out the new ult. It seems like a lot of fun. I didn't really ever get to try it when it was 10 armor, so now trying it when it's 20, that's going to be pretty awesome. Yeah.
So I think the biggest losers of the patch are probably Io and Visage. Visage is 7% lower win rate. That's crazy. My only explanation for this gutting is that Ice Frog listens to the podcast.
Yeah, I was about to say, because I think 3 of the 6 heroes we talked about got nerfed.
I mean, they were also some of the highest win rate heroes, weren't they?
Ursa got touched. Ursa, Visage, and who else was it that we talked about?
We talked about Bounty Hunter. Did he get touched?
Bounty Hunter and Oracle got left alone. Lifestealer got left alone, I think, right? Or did he get a little bit of touched up on the feast?
Lifestealer got a tiny...
He had a strength change, didn't he?
Yeah, strength. Okay, so those were Lifestealer, Ursa, and...
So Visage's win rate plunged, but it's still above 50%. So kind of all seems good to me now.
Just Visage things. It's wild how strong that hero is.
They changed the damage on his birds.
Yeah.
And it's especially bad at level 6 because these heroes that have stout shields, the birds actually just don't do damage.
Yeah, it really tickles some strength heroes. Nothing.
Yeah,
and that's nothing. All the heroes right now are strength cores.
Yeah. And given that Visage goes Helm with the Dominator and the familiars already have high attack speed, just a nerf to raw damage from 30 to 20 is actually so impactful. It's really quite a big nerf, bigger than it seems.
Mm-hmm. You can still deal with supports, but any hero that builds a stout shield is totally just going to be able to tank the birds indefinitely, pretty much.
It's perhaps worth supports, even buying that stout shield, if you're really getting picked off by Visage for the early game.
Maybe. It is less effective on ranged heroes, but...
Yeah, that's true.
So that's Visage and Io.
Wisp.
Yeah, Wisp, but can't really be bothered with Wisp, but Wisp was changed a bit. I want a couple of drive-by mentions. I think Storm's coming back.
I think we're definitely going to start seeing him played again. He's been buffed a few patches in a row.
Exactly, yeah. It's not just this buff, but in general, they buffed him. His static remnant cooldown got buffed, and now, was it cooldown or damage or something?
The mana cost, it's cheaper at level 1.
In this one, the mana cost, but I think in previous 7.21 or 7.20...
the electric vortex got changed. The cooldown got changed.
Yeah, that was this one. He's been seeing he's seen some buffs.
It went from 22 to at every level to like 16 or something.
Yeah, if you scroll back over the last few patches, they're all small buffs, just little buffs, little touches up here and there, and they're going to start adding up. And I think we're going to see him play.
Well, the thing is, though, that's all. I mean, these are all nice. It's just that the Bloodstone was changed so much that his mana regen can't ever really get back up to the level that it used to until much later.
That's definitely true.
So, but I saw VP pick it. I mean, no one played it.
Did he? So, I didn't see that game.
I'm sure it's fine. He had well, I think they might have lost that game. I don't remember. He had Treads and Kaya, and then went into Orchid.
Yeah, the change to Treads helps him as well. That was what they buffed overload damage, didn't they, in the last patch?
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
But the changing treads and phase, switching them back to how they used to be, if you know what I mean, how they've traditionally been. That's a buff to Storm as well, because treads is such a great item on him. And Kai is pretty much the standard. I don't think you go Bloodstone now. It's like a luxury item. It's not core anymore.
Right.
Yeah, I do think most Storms I see rush Kai first.
He's starting to become more pickable, which is all you would want out of him, right? You don't want him to be the best hero in the patch, but
no, that would be so obnoxious.
Right, but if he's just pickable again, it'd be nice, and I think he's starting to get there.
Yeah, this Remnant mana cost is good for his laning because you can CS with his Remnant a bit more, but make no mistakes, he's still very weak laner.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to play Storm. There's a lot of matchups where I just wouldn't want to play Storm. He's definitely on the lower end of the mid lane tier list in terms of laning. But then, of course, you're not picking Storm
Pre-6 for sure.
Yeah, once he's got 6, he's kind of fine. It's difficult to kill him. But you're not picking Storm for the laning anyway. And he does have jungling ability. This helps his jungling a lot as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think really high skill players can get something out of his laning stage. But in general, it is tough because he's not that strong and he's really weak pre-6 to ganks.
Yeah. Drive-by mentioned TA, meld stacks. This is only relevant for Roche, I think, but it is quite nice for Roche because meld is...
Yeah, it does seem kind of cool.
Nice.
It's very rare that you see the old drive-by, like the TA that sits in hiding, right, and waits for someone to walk up. You can get a double meld off then, which would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that'd be Omega damage. Because what would that be? Like minus 21 armor total, maybe something like that between two melds and a Deso. That'd be a lot.
You know your numbers better than I do.
I think Deso's 7, and then is meld not 7 each time, or
meld is 8 at level 4. I know that.
Okay, so 23.
And there's a talent as well. I don't know how much the talent gives.
4.
So you can get up to 12 on each meld.
Yeah, so you get 4 seconds of overlap.
Well, that's all you would need because no one would exist after. Because that's bonus damage, right, on the meld that's also amplified by the minus armor now, but they kind of fixed that. So I've only really ever seen that once. That was at a TI as well, which was pretty hype. But the lying in wait TA could be kind of cool.
Yeah.
I didn't think about it for Roche. That is actually pretty big. It's kind of nice because she did get her ancients changed.
Yeah. I'll get one final drive-by. This will maybe be more interesting for you because you guys play position 5. Warlock, base intel increased by 3. I mean, whatever, don't really care about upheaval mana cost, but what do you think about Warlock as a position 5 at the moment?
I've not tried him for a while.
He's not bad. I don't think he's that bad.
He's kind of boring. He's like...
He is boring.
He could be very strong or just like completely useless. Fatal Bonds is like so underrated.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that's hard to like in a fight tell what's going on. Because it doesn't do damage all in a chunk, like a big nuke. It's like, oh man, that's what killed me. But there's times when Fatal Bonds could have done your whole health bar, and you're like, how did I die?
You definitely play games against Warlock where he's doing crazy hero damage. Like at the end of the game, you look at the scoreboard and it's like, this Warlock's just solo won in the game.
Mm-hmm. There are times where just his Shadow Word win a lane, either by you putting it on your core or just zoning someone out.
Yeah.
Putting it on their offlaner.
So a friend of the podcast, Matt, shout out to Matt, he told me about he plays with a group, and that one of their strategies these days is they pick Warlock and Grimstroke, and you soulbind 2 heroes together, and then you do Fatal Bonds on the 2 of them. That does a lot of damage.
That's a pretty big...
Whether it's worth picking those heroes for that combo, who knows? But it's they say it's fun. So maybe that's something to try.
Shadow Word both of them as well.
Yeah. Now you're really rolling when you do that.
Yeah.
I do like the hero. The Golem's very strong. It's nice. like it's like long range stun, right? I think it still pierces BKB.
Yeah.
He's very slow. I don't know. I feel like he could be Lifestealer and Ursa food, kind of. But
yeah, he can be. Yeah. Yeah. The thing with Warlock as well is he's one of those X Factor supports, a bit like Shadow Shaman, where if it does go late game and he gets farm, if he gets Refresher.
Yeah, Ag's Refresher is sick.
Ag's Refresh, it's the same as Shaman. Like, if he gets Ag Refresher, you're not winning a fight. You're just not. There's 4 golems. It's just, and there's 2 BKB piercing massive AoE stuns.
Is Warlock a hero a support you'd consider getting Midas on ever?
I know you used to.
Whenever I feel like if you get the Midas, you end up getting the Ags at the same time you would have just got it anyways. You know what I mean? Because you are investing the 2k item. But it is good for getting your levels. I don't think I would build it in a pub. I don't even know if I would rush Ags. Kind of like a 4-staff type hero. Or a Glimmer, just something.
Midas on Warlock's so greedy.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's one of the fights where you'll see it the most.
Yeah, I mean, back when I started playing Dota, it was like Warlock and Ancient Apparition would buy.
Yeah, Warlock's a hero that like as the 5, he just throws out his spells and he can die. Like it doesn't.
Yeah, he wants to die if he gets the like Golem talent thing.
Exactly, but he like can stay far away. You get initiated upon. He's great counter initiation because he can throw the Golem down from so far away. And if they've put themselves out of position, him following up with Upheaval is very big. So
yeah,
he's definitely pickable. I don't know if it's just because of get 3 more int. Maybe we'll see him some more.
Yeah,
I do want to say one thing I'm looking in the patch is that Lich lost 10 move speed. That's pretty big.
He still feels like a good support to me. I've been playing him.
He's still good, but 305 feels...
Playing him in my solo calibration games, and I'm enjoying him.
305 move speed feels really nice, just as a base, but 295 still definitely doable.
Pretty slow, though, these days. These speedy days.
I think he used to be like 315, maybe. I don't know.
He used to be quick, yeah. Definitely.
He definitely got hit in the losing 5. It must have been 310 because was it 720 was when heroes that were like all ant heroes lost 5 move speed if they were over 295 or something. So he definitely lost it there too. So he's at minus 15 down, which is pretty big.
That's right. Yeah.
We haven't mentioned Sven. But let's do that.
Yeah, Sven was a kind of an interesting one for sure.
It's weird because they changed his Warcry and his God Strength, and both of the changes, I feel like the Warcry is bad for this support Sven and the God Strength's bad for the carry Sven.
The other thing that's bad for the support Sven is the cleave change, because I think sometimes as a support Sven you'd pick up 1 point in cleave just to help you pick up farm here and there, but now 1 point in cleave really doesn't do anything. Well, if you're a carry Sven, you're going to be more likely to max that, so the nerf doesn't hurt as bad. So I think it's really a massive change for support Sven more than the core Sven.
The thing I was going to say, the thing for core Sven... Actually, screw it. Let's talk about support Sven and then I'll say the core Sven thing.
Yeah, so I feel like this is one of those changes. It looks like it does a lot on paper, but we drafted support Sven twice in our RD2L games on Monday. We won. So... I feel like if you go max Warcry, you're not going to feel it that much.
Yeah, you'll feel it like once or twice. You're only going to cast it a couple of times when it's like level 1.
The stun's a nice point anyway. It's like a good value point. I feel like you're well off to max Warcry. I don't even know if it's kind of a discussion whether you get God Strength at 6 to begin with as a sports fan, so you can be 303, and it's pretty much the same hero at that point that it was beforehand.
Yeah, a word on core Sven. The thing that sucks about the God Strength cooldown is you really don't want to fight when God Strength's down. if your position 1 Sven doesn't have God Strength, it's like really rough. You have to be so far ahead to use a Sven without God Strength. Especially like when you're looking at level 2, it's like 120 bonus damage. Oh my god, I've just brought it up here. 120% bonus damage, 20 strength. That's, if you take that away, you're doing literally less than half of the damage. You've got 20 less strength, and you're just a totally different hero. So now it feels like with this slightly longer cooldown, it's an extra 20 seconds where you're seeding map control and you're seeding position and stuff, because you know you can't fight with your Sven because you need God Strength up in order for you to take a fight. So I do think that is quite rough.
Like position 1 Sven was he's like a timing based hero to begin with. He would already fall off in the terms of like, you know, just against other carries. He falls off on the grand scheme late. So now it's like almost even more timing based, playing around your God Strength.
I wouldn't say he's timing. When I think of him as timing based, I don't think he actually does fall off that hard. I do think, because if you just get a Deadless or something, Deadless Mask of Madness, with Deadless being
BKB, BKB's
this is what I'm saying. Like I'm just saying, if you still have the Mask of Madness in terms of scaling into the late game, you're going to get your BKB, you're going to get your Blink, you're going to get your Mask of Madness. Say you still have that, then I don't think you fall off then, because you can still grab a Daedalus and you're going to like kill basically any enemy hero unless they're a tank in Warhammer duration. So you can still be
Saber on Core Sven, or
you can do
Sven.
Echo Saber's optional.
He can build a lot of different stuff. I mean, we talked about that Team Liquid draft, right? I feel like that's the way in our WhatsApp. That's kind of the way to do it.
That's crazy though. I mean, position 1 Sven's like not really a thing, unless you're Miracle, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think Sven is definitely not a hero that you just pick to be your position 1. Like
he's not.
He is very very strong against certain lineups, and there are other lineups where he feels like garbage as a carry. I think as a support he can slot into almost any lineup. He's that strong, and I think he's that strong still. But like what you were talking about in our WhatsApp with the draft where they ran with the Darkseer, and then he go S and Y as well. And so when he got surged, he had 700 move speed.
Yeah, I mean, it feels good. You can probably get away with playing Sven position 1 if you've got Iron Shell, your 700 move speed, and you've got Mind Control doing 4-man vacuums from the high ground that you can Stormhammer. Then Sven's pretty good.
Those two are like best friends, Darkseer and Sven. Because vacuum into Stormhammer is already a huge combo. And then there's Surge to make him not as kiteable. Wall to make your enemies slower. Ion Shell because you're going to be on top of somebody bopping them. Yeah. And then, I know they synergize very well together.
Yeah. Darkseer is another hero that I like, by the way. That one's for you, John. That's another one to add to the pile.
Yeah.
It feels a little bit, I know I've talked about this a bit, but it's sort of a bit like, it's not like Metamorphosis, but it's a bit like that in terms of you have to play around this spell if you have a core Sven. But also, there's also the offlane Sven, the position 3 aura building Sven, which I still think is fine. It's like really good. It's sort of in the middle.
Yeah, I think he's still a great hero. And it's kind of like Grimstroke. They keep getting touched up with these tiny things, and they still get picked because they're still good. Like the core abilities are still strong. So even if they're up less time, the time when you do have them up, you're still like super strong. So still pick it, you know?
Yeah. Can we just have a word on how weird is this Geminate attack change?
You don't rate it?
No, I just don't get it. It's bizarre. Why is there suddenly bonus? It's just so weird.
What is the change?
It does, so the second attack on Geminate now, like your bonus attack, deals 10, 20, 30, 40 bonus physical.
It's big. So, that's quite a lot.
When I first read this patch, the single thing I was most excited for was Weaver. The Geminate attack change. I just thought it was sick.
That is huge in the laning stage for sure.
Yeah, because you get Gemini off a lot. I think that's going to stack up. That
You say bye-bye supports.
But does it mean you start maxing Geminate in lane over your Sakuchi?
No, I think Sakuchi's it's just too strong. The hero Weaver's is too stats-wise so weak that you have to be able to run away.
So that means that the Geminate attack, which you just get 1 value point of early, is just a 10 bonus damage for the second hit.
Yeah.
I think there's a debate as to whether you max the bugs or the Geminate second.
No, I don't think you get bugs. Bugs are pretty trash.
I don't think bugs are pretty good. I don't know.
I'm not a bugs. I feel like
the bugs might not be. They might not be really good until you get the talent that gives them the extra HP. I don't know.
What does leveling them do? What changes about the bugs?
Damage. Maybe their base attack time. I'll pull up the hero.
It's damage.
Okay, I've got it here.
Yeah,
the damage per tick, the tick interval, and the cooldown. Those are the things that changes. So I would say, given this new Geminate buff, that you're going to want Geminate over. You're going to want to max Geminate second over the bugs, because you now want that 20, 30, 40 bonus damage.
Yeah, I would. I'm not a bugs fan. I just think bugs is a bad spell.
It's a good value point.
I disagree that it's a bad spell. I think it's a really good spell, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure you're going to max it.
I don't know. The cooldown goes from 44 to 20 on the pretty huge. But at the same time, the Geminate goes from 9 to 3. 3-second cooldown to be dealing that extra bonus damage is pretty good.
It's pretty tasty, yeah.
Let's see here. The Dota Gamepedia has done the maths, and it says the total damage the Swarm does is 234, 300, 374, 504 before reductions. So that is actually a lot of damage.
The minus armor too. You got to
minus
factor
armor too. Can reduce up to 13, 15, 17, 21 armor per unit. So the bugs are strong.
Here's an interesting thought: is level 25 talent now, +1 Geminate attack or 200 movement speed on Sakuchi. Do you go the Geminate attack so you have extra bonus damage for the 2 attacks?
I mean, by the time you're level 25, that plus 40 damage is not relevant, right?
Yeah, I think that's probably right.
You buy Daedalus, you buy crit on Weaver now, and you get +1 Geminate attack, and you crit off everything. That's the play. That's the big brain play.
That's the play. Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else to touch on? I mean, rest in peace, Double Will-O-Wisp.
We hardly knew ye, basically.
Yeah, are you happy to see Dick?
I don't mind that going. It changed the identity of Kotl too much. Already I was upset with the changes. Not because it makes Kotl weak. I mean, he's really strong now, but I miss the old Kotl who I enjoyed playing. And it's almost like playing a new hero now.
He was more unique.
I don't know.
The old Kotl
was
more unique.
Having Coddles in my games going 4-staff, Refresher Rush, everybody wanted to do it. So now that's dead. Maybe they'll get more support items. Because they're still going to be blasting all my waves, taking all the farm. So,
and the Ignis Fata still is a strong spell if used correctly.
Yeah, very strong.
Yeah, I enjoy blasting the waves and stealing Adam's farm. I'm sure I've done that more than once.
That's fine if you do it.
Thanks. Good to know I have permission now.
Yeah.
Ricky has 1 million HP regen.
That's cool. I always missed that about Ricky. The Invis used to give HP regen so you could kind of walk around and not have to. Sometimes you'd have to go tranquils or just keep varying out regen.
He has 5 mana
so the base
mana
health
regen.
regen's nice.
He has 5 base mana regen. That's actually crazy.
It's just he's I saw reverted a change from 720, right? Because it used to be the health regen was 3, and then it was 1.5, and now he's just gone the other direction.
I think I have maybe 2 little heroes, little changes. I don't think the tiny tree grab makes. I guess people are still picking tiny. It is annoying that you can't tree grab and like deny as well as a support. I guess the bonus damage isn't as good, but tiny's still going to do tiny things. He's still going to 100 to 0 you in a half second. So
I mean, in lane the tree gave him so much free damage, which was crazy to deal with.
So hard to contest CS against his tree. Like so difficult.
It is still not as. I guess it's not as a 1-point wonder as it used to be. And then one hero that's pretty intriguing is I don't know if I rate this hero in this current meta, but this buff could be pretty strong as Treant Protector. living armor.
Yeah, that looks really interesting. That reminds me, I should play him at some point.
Yeah, instead of 25, so it scales up to 100 damage block at level 4. That's still the same, but the level 1 point, instead of 25 damage block, it's 40. 40 is really strong level 1. That's like the auto attack from a support, or really a core almost after you apply reductions and stuff. So that could be a 1-point wonder spell for sure.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a 1-point wonder spell. It's already a great spell. It's like, it's unique, healing buildings. I mean, OG won one of their TI games from pressing this spell. There's nothing else like it. Being able to heal your towers is so good.
Yeah, once they changed, because it used to be everybody would just max living armor back in the day, and then they changed his Q. Nature's Guise, that's what it's called.
Yeah,
basically when they added the punch root thing, it kind of changed how people were building them, and people were really wanting to get the extra damage and the extra, like the lower cooldown.
The damage scale is so crazy. It's 30 on this Q. It's 30 total damage at level 1, and then jumps all the way to 90 at level 2, and then 150.
Yeah,
it's scaled so well, and the
root
goes up.
Those points into that skill, and then it just leaves living armor, which was pretty bad, honestly, as a level 1. So that's pretty cool that they're changing, since his build kind of got flipped. They're kind of changing his 1-point skills to be a little bit better. And
I have everyone knows from our extensive market research that what people want is talk about cosmetics. So I have the weirdest. I have like the weird, freaky. I don't even know what this cosmetic is. Do you know the one I mean? For living armor, where it's like weird, deranged.
It's like orange and pink, kind of.
It's like an immortal, and it's weird, like dancing creatures on Treant's head.
Yeah,
that like dance around.
Okay, yeah, they're yellow.
Yellow, yeah. That's one of
they're the ones that dance in a circle.
Yeah, it's like the freakiest cosmetic ever. Pretty scary stuff.
One of the best things about playing Tree is if you finish a game with all your towers up and on full health.
Yeah.
That's been a good game.
You did good. Pressing your spell.
Tree also underrated. Has one of the best silver tier voice lines ever.
Which one's that?
Are you lost?
It's the Are You Lost? So
yeah.
Oh, that is good, yeah.
I love the Tree voice actor. So
yeah.
I feel like that one you can really tilt the opponent if you just kill them and say, "Are you lost?" over and over again.
Yeah, I got a good one on. I just got level 12 on TA not that long ago, and TA's got the it's a trap. That's nice. A good one as well. Like if they ever try and fight you, or like if you bait them or anything like that, you just throw that out. It's a trap.
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
We need a pod episode on voice lines.
Voice lines.
Which heroes to max first?
Because I had never seen who's going to see a level 6 Tree in your game, right? Like I never.
Yeah.
Not a very many people play Tree. And the first time I ever saw the Are You Lost thing was TI8 when OG played it, Seb off lane, and he kept spamming Are You Lost, and it got me so mad. So I know it's effective.
You lost?
But you guys have had an episode about PMA and being a good teammate. But so I suppose you need an episode on how to tilt the opponent.
Yeah, definitely.
Because they talked about, they spam the emojis to keep team morale. So that's a way of keeping PMA within your own team that just has the added benefit of tilting the opponent. So
was it LGD or came into the problem that they had to mute all of OG, but one of them had to keep them unmuted so they knew when the game was over when they GG'd out. So they needed some person to be the stoic hero on their team to deal with all the voice chat lines and the flaming.
Yeah, someone had to take the brunt of the assault.
Are you lost?
Anything else we feel inclined to mention? I feel like we've covered pretty much all of it, right? I mean, there's not...
if we're going to have a little bit of a cosmetics talk, I just want to say I got the Dota Plus 75,000 shard Enchantress set. So I'm pretty excited about that.
That means you have to play Enchantress, though. That's kind of grim.
I love Enchantress, so
yeah, Sproing.
I will do that happily, and you will be subjected to it. So it's really just bad for you guys.
Ench is bad at the moment, right? I mean, I feel like I never see Ench.
What is the new set? What does it look like?
She just gets the unicorn horn one. I don't have that one applied because she's got two. She's got a headdress immortal and a spear immortal already. I just got it for the legs, and then she's got like a cape.
Have you got the rainbow impetus?
Yeah, I think I found the one. It's just Eminence of the South Star. She's got a unicorn. Yeah. She's got a cape. Okay, that's pretty funny.
Yeah, but on the hero itself, I like her a lot.
She looks like an anime character now, with like the spear with the things floating around it and the unicorns. She could definitely feature in an anime now.
I've got 150k saved up. I was going to buy the Monkey King one, but then I just decided just haven't done it yet.
Save it for another year.
Yeah.
I spent all my Dota Plus shots on those stupid, what are they called?
Relics.
Gems.
Yeah, I still think the Tusk set's really sick. With the cool book and the weird Viking stuff.
This is the first Dota Plus set I bought. I always buy the relics. Because if I get one on a hero, I want to complete the hero. I don't want to have a space for any of the relics, like the OCD. Yeah, so. Yeah. But that just happened it's when they launched the second season of Dota Plus or whatever. They gave everybody, or I guess it was with the new ranked season. They threw out all these quests so you could make the points really easy. And then I happened to win a battle cup. So then I was 20k closer and I was like, well, I might as well just save up for 10,000 shards and get a set. So.
Yeah. I feel like that's pretty much done. I mean, we fan sort of special episode patch review / fan mail, bit of half and half. So I don't think anyone's ever taken as long as us to answer what your favourite and least favourite hero is, but I have no regrets because it was good fun to delve into the ins and outs of our...
Yeah, it felt good to go spell by spell and really, describe why I don't like Invoker, just line by line.
We're going to get a follow-up question from John next week, like, what's your favourite and least favourite spell?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll answer it then too. I had a great time. Thanks for having me on. I've been listening to the podcast since you started it, so it's fun to contribute as well.
Yeah, for sure. Privileged to have you. We'll have you back again for sure. So yeah,
or maybe I have you on for forever because maybe Marco will just lose his position.
They just start podcast MMR. Highest gets to play.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the fans, we like straw poll the MMR gain or loss post pod based on your performances.
That's a way to build in fan interaction.
Yeah, John and Fruity, get your emails in. Who do you like more, me or Marco?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, tune in next time. We'll be back super soon. It won't be a week this time, I can promise you that. Email in your questions, newmetapodcast@hotmail.com. And follow us, subscribe. We love subscribers. Nothing makes me happier than going on my Libsyn stats and seeing that I've got more subscribers. So go ahead, make my day. And we'll see you next time. So stay happy. Long live Ice Frog. Bye.
Boom.